Can someone have a snap together? For memories.
We are live.
A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to yet another episode from the Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society, along with the Young Ophthalmological Society of India on personal finance. Friends, respected seniors, and dear colleagues, personal finance has always been a very difficult thing and concept for all of us as ophthalmologists. I've heard people saying, how the heck do I learn things now at the age of 40, 45? Where do I start? Friends, they say an investment in knowledge pays us the best interest. When it comes to the world of investing, most people don't know where to start. And we are very fortunate that today we have the best and the great investors amongst us to help us and guide us in this journey. Warren Buffett once said, I will tell you how to become rich. Close the doors, be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. So friends, today we have all the Warren Buffets of ophthalmology here with us. And today we look upon all of them for guidance. So thank you so much and a very warm welcome to all our expert panelists, our chairperson, Dr. Santosh Pide sir and Dr. Sonal ma'am. Dr. Sonal ma'am couldn't attend due to some urgent emergency. Dr. Santosh Pide sir, he is the president of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society, past president of Pune Ophthalmic Society, past president Maharashtra chapter of ISMS-ICS, secretary trustee of POS, and a great phaco and refractive surgeon. He has always been the guiding light for all our activities. We welcome you and would like you to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Anaga. Dear friends, welcome to this webinar on investment. As an ophthalmologist and as a doctor, we are good at earning money, but we are very poor at investing and creating wealth. And we are really fortunate today to have great wealth creators, I would say, like Dr. K.K. Mehta sir, Padma Shri K.K. Mehta sir, Dr. Kulin Kothari sir, Dr. Akash Patel, Dr. Trupti Lambert, Dr. Manish Tote, and Dr. Manoj Kumar Agarwal. And actually in our medical school, we are never taught about economics and finances and how to invest, how to save tax, how to create a wealth, because at the end of the day, we need money. So looking forward to a great webinar with a lot of take-home messages from these great people. And over to you, Dr. Anaga, for introduction of the speakers and question and answers. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Santosh. I would like to also touch upon Dr. Sonal ma'am. She is the assistant professor at the upgraded Department of Ophthalmology, Savai Mansingh Medical College, Jaipur. Brilliant anterior segment surgeon and the president of EOC of India. She's also the executive member of JOS and executive member of ROS. And co-moderating with me is a brilliant young ophthalmologist, Dr. Aarti Heda. She has been at the forefront in all our activities, not only at MOS, but also at the level of AIS, and a brilliant surgeon. Over to you, Dr. Aarti, to introduce all our panelists.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity, actually, I must say. So it's an honor to introduce today's panelists. They have a huge experience, definitely more than my age in ophthalmology. So first we have Professor Dr. K.K. Mehta, sir. He is actually India's foremost consultant ophthalmic surgeon and is surgical chief and medical director of Mehta International Eye Institute in Mumbai. An outstanding researcher and clinician, he has extensive experience in excimer laser, PRK, LASIK techniques, which he has done on over 11,000 patients over the last 15 years. He has pioneered in India the commencement of intraocular implants and phacoemulsification cataract surgery. Awarded with Padma Shri by the President of India in 2008 for his exemplary surgical skills and his outstanding achievement and research in ophthalmology. So I had to really select which awards to mention for his introduction. So he has been awarded with Appreciation Award by American Implant Society and Triple Ribbon Award by the American Society for Cataract and Refractive Surgery. And he has a huge experience when it comes to financial things. So looking forward to hear from you, sir. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Next, we have with us Dr. Kulin Kothari, sir. He's founded Bombay City Eye Institute and Research Center in 1991. He was the gold medalist and university topper in his MS and DOMS examinations. He has undergone specialty training from US, UK, and Germany in areas of cataract, glaucoma, and refractive surgery. His areas of interest include community eye care. He has been a guru to scores of ophthalmologists across India in the field of cataract surgery. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Next, we have with us Dr. R.C. Shah, sir. He's practicing in Mumbai for last 30 years. He has been largest multifocal user. He has nearly used 17,000 multifocal lenses. He is pioneer in placing iris claw IOL behind the iris and trained many surgeons for the same. He has designed unique varifocal IOL with Dr. Kakadia. He has many innovations in his name like Trebecline for glaucoma, Omniflow, a glaucoma device. He holds special interest in personal finances and is keen in teaching the same to others as well. We welcome Dr. Shah. Next, we have with us Dr. Manoj Kumar Agarwal. He did his MBBS and MS from Grand Medical College and Sir JJ Group of Hospitals in Mumbai. He did his retina fellowship under Dr. Nagpal. He is currently in private practice in Mumbai and is attached to many hospitals. He continues to teach at Lakshmi Eye Hospital in Panvel. He has a deep interest in personal finance and mutual funds as well. He has taken on himself to educate the medical fraternity about it. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Next, we have with us Dr. Akash Patel. He is young and energetic ophthalmologist and entrepreneur into multi-centric private practice in Gujarat. Since last 10 years, he is in private practice. He is tracking stock market since the age of 10 and holds a flair for stock market and is a high net worth stock investor himself. He makes it a point to read at least 20 to 25 articles daily on stock market economics and financial planning. After successfully coaching and training around 350 plus people on instrument investments and wealth creation group and stock talk groups, he is now venturing out into online teaching platform by name of Investing Coach. So we look forward to you, Dr. Patel. And then we have with us Dr. Manish Tote, sir. He is anterior segment and refractive surgeon at Tote Eye Hospital in Amravati. He has done his MBBS and MS from GMC Nagpur. He is ex-lecturer of Rajiv Gandhi Medical College in Thane and Punjab Rao Deshmukh Medical College in Amravati. Thank you so much, Dr. Manish, for joining us. Next, we have with us Dr. Trupti Kadam. She's pediatric squint, uro and comprehensive ophthalmologist based in Nagpur. She's presented at state and national conferences. She's member of AIOS editorial proceeding. She's AIOS ARC PG thesis evaluator in equity and finance since October 2020 with chief interest in technical analysis, swings, index FNO and stocks. Thank you, Dr. Trupti, for joining us. Last but not the least, we have with us Dr. Nilesh Kumar. He is medical director at Madhvi Netralaya in Bihar. He has innovated a novel smartphone-based gonio imaging device, which has been awarded at multiple innovation sessions. He holds a special interest in academics and research and has authored around 85 published articles and has presented over 65 papers and invited lectures in various national and international conferences. His current areas of interest include research, smartphone imaging, and medical retina. He is joint secretary of Young Ophthalmologist Society of India. He is doing investment on personal basis since last 5 years in vehicles such as mutual funds, direct equity, bonds, invoice discounting, and startup funding. So looking forward to you, Nilesh. Then moderating this session will be Dr. Anaga with me. She's medical director at Anil Eye Hospital in Mumbai, chairman of Gopal Krishna Charitable Trust, member ARC West Zone AIOS. She's honorary secretary of Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society. She's also an executive member of IIRSI. She's member of FBS Women's Empowerment and Network Committee. So over to you, Anaga ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aarti. And let's move on to the first question. My first question will be to Dr. Akash Patel. Sir, if we divide all our investments into short-term and long-term investments, I would like to ask you, what are the investing options in short term, and how would you categorize them as low, moderate, or high risk categories?
Yeah. First of all, before we begin, I would like to thank Maharashtra Ophthalmic Society for inviting me over, and Dr. Santosh Bide sir and Dr. Anna ma'am, all the dignitaries on the dais. Namaste to everybody. And, thank you, Dr. Azi, for a wonderful introduction. So, basically, when it comes to investment, the trick of the trade is that there are not really many definitions per se, textbook definitions. So we have something from textbook point of view. We have definitions for glaucoma. We have one for cataract and all other maladies. Interestingly, wherein the biggest money flows, there are not many definitions for what constitutes a long term and what constitutes short term, because income tax definition differs and the investment definition differs. So in general, whatever, when we talk of equities in particular, anything less than 5 years is short term. That would again depend upon from investment to investment, but as far as equities are concerned, anything less than 5 years is short term, and anything more than that is long term. So that we need to understand. When it comes to real estate and bank FDs and other things, what happens is we usually take the income tax definition. So anything less than 1 year is considered as short term. When it comes to real estate, anything less than 2 years is considered short term, and anything more than that is usually considered long term. So that is how it usually goes from the short term and the long term definition point of view. So that is
Okay. Dr. K. Mehta, sir, how would you categorize them? Like, if I consider short-term options as of now, low risk, moderate risk, and high risk.
See, I'll do one thing for you. I have with me my colleague who's with me. Her name is Bhushan. He did significant work in stock market, handles my stock market, one would say, portfolio, and has had his training now in a number of advanced courses. So I asked him today that he should be around. I'm going to put him on. He will be the one who's going to help me the maximum. And I'm here.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yeah. Good evening.
Yeah. My name is Bhushan. I have my own firm by name Tide Financial Services. So you can ask me on behalf of it. And I'm helping Dr. K.K. Mehta for last 5 years now for his stock portfolio and all that. So you can ask whatever you want.
Question is that what are the options in which we should invest for short-term goals and for long-term goals?
Right, for short-term only right now.
Yeah,
For
short-term goals.
And if you
What are the different options in which we should invest for short-term goals? Yeah.
So right now, what we suggest to the clients and what I personally prefer is like you should fix income products are the good products right now, since the market is very volatile. And for last 1 year and 1.5 years, we are not getting return from the equity market. Since for that, like mutual funds are also not work accordingly what we expected. So we suggest generally you should enter into something like a corporate FDs or fixed income products like AIF, a lot of other fixed income products we generally suggest to everything. So we can get at least a 5 to 8% return, and that is a fine for right now. For a next 1 year, what we suggest to everything.
What about RBI bonds? Your opinion on RBI bonds?
We can go for the bonds right now. A bond, that's what I'm saying. What we are getting as a fixed income product, that comes into that only. So we are okay with the bonds and all. Right now, everything is fine for 1.5 year more somewhere around. Because right now, what we are getting, the interest rates are very quite good. So more for next.
No, bonds are for 7 years. No, your money gets locked for 7 years.
So that is fine, because right now anything we are not getting it. So right now for 7 years, it's a short-term period only. It's not that big period that we cannot get anything out of it. So
you suggest FD over bond or bonds over FD?
I'll suggest depends on what bonds and what FDs we are choosing. Like depends on the client to client.
Dr. Kulin, sir?
But
Yes.
a lot of people are having a lot of things.
Anaga ma'am, I think Dr. Manoj and Dr. Kulin sir
Dr.
both
Kulin,
have
sir,
raised their
both,
hands.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
take their
Yes,
views.
yes.
Yes.
Over to you,
Yeah.
Kulin sir. Yeah.
I think before we go to these questions, one or two fundamental things we need to. First thing is when we start our practices, we earn comparatively less amounts, but we must fix up the amount of saving what we want to have rather than amount of spending. What generally most of the people they do is out of 100 rupees we earn, उसमें से खर्चा कितना होता है, समझो खर्चा हो गया 80 rupees or 85 rupees, तो 15 रुपया बच गया, वो सेविंग बोलते हैं. I would strongly have a disciplined approach that out of 100 rupees you earn, you first decide that how much saving you want to do. Say for example 30 rupees or 35 rupees, and बाकी का जो amount है उसमें से you manage your other expenses. That's the first principle of disciplined saving. Number two, we must understand that there are various possible asset classes where we have to understand where we can possibly invest. Number one is equities. Number two is fixed assets like FDs, bonds, etc. Number three is commodities like precious metals. Real estate, in my personal opinion, is not, I don't consider is an asset class at this point of time. There are so many cash equivalent like government papers. There are so many, if I extend the asset classes, it can be artwork or stamps or hedge funds. And I don't want to talk much about cryptocurrency, but it is also can be considered as a theoretical discussion as an asset class. Now, after understanding the asset class, we have to have an asset allocation chart in our minds, which will differ from age to age and from your requirements and from your planning. Whether you have do you have a children? Are you married? If you have one child or two children, and etc. And so on, all these things, we need to plan the asset allocation investment. So these are the very fundamental rules to be followed before we go at about short-term or long-term things.
Yes, sir. We'll discuss all the other queries also in the next questions. Dr. Manoj, sir, you wanted to say
Yeah,
something?
actually,
before we
yeah, I
move on
want.
to the next?
Okay. Good evening. Am I audible to you fairly well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I just want to add that since you asked a question was how do we, segregate short-term, medium-term, long-term? I just want to add a little to that. See, from the investment point of view, what we generally believe is that if you're investing for short-term generally means 3 years or less, then it is something where we cannot take a significant amount of risk because there's a lot of volatility and there's a risk that you may not get enough good returns or your principal may be at peril. So for the short-term, less than 3 years, we suggest you should go for safer options where the returns may be moderate, but your principal will be safe enough. So that means more of fixed income, which could be like fixed deposits or bonds or corporate FDs or whatever, those kind of things, or debt mutual funds. Then we say if you're going for a medium-term duration, which is say 3 to 5 years, 6 years, that is something where you are little medium-term, you can take a little bit of risk. So we could have a little bit of equity component in that. So you could have some amount in equity, some amount in fixed income, or you could choose a mutual fund, which we call as the balance or the hybrid category, which automatically gives you some amount of balance between debt and equity in one scheme. And if you're going for 6-7 years plus, is more than that, then because the duration is long term, then your principal has a long amount of time to compound and grow. So there you can take a little risk. You can be subject to little volatility, but the returns will be much higher. So there you can increase your equity component significantly. You can go for shares, or you could go to more amount of equity mutual funds. And if your horizon is 10 years plus, then you could go for more of equity mutual funds, and you could go for the small and the mid cap category where the volatility is high, but the returns are going to be much more. So this is from the investment point of view, we decide depending on your horizon, you segregate your investments as per that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Dr. R.C. Shah, sir, the next question is to you. Sir, we say investments logically depend on how much we earn, our revenue, and always the risk-taking ability of each person is different. So is there any thumb rule as to how much you should invest, and is there any special tips for beginners? Sir, we can't hear you. Unmute, please unmute, sir.
I think Dr. Kulin sir has already told us about how to be a disciplined investor.
Yes.
RC sir, please unmute.
So it's gone.
Yes.
See, what I today, for me, equity is the only option, because now the time for next 10 years is to make big time money. If 5%, 7%, one should take the risk and take the advantage of the best times in the equity for next 3 to 4 years. So for me, everything is in equity today. After 3-4 years, once the time changes, and if I feel that the equity market may not go up so much, or it becomes risky, then I will transfer my money from here to somewhere else. But at present, I take the risk. It all depends on how much you want to take the risk. But today, I have taken 100% risk in the equity, and I have invested fully into equity. So I believe that next 3 years, I think equity is the best choice. You can keep the money, what I have done is I have kept the money till my lifetime separately in the bank. So even if I lose everything in the bank and in the equity, I have enough money to survive properly. But now, last 2-3 years, we have made a big time money. And the recommendation which you have given in BOA, I think it was about a month back, and almost all of them has gone up by 30%. So for me, the only option today is equity. I don't think we should go for it. At least I will not go for anything else.
But equity only after you have kept the money separately.
But that is what we say. Suppose even if I was a beginner, I would have taken the risk of all the amount, because I know that this is going to work. Because if you want to take the big money, you have to take the big risk. I am a risky person, so I always take the big risk. And it has worked in our field. You see, in 1 month only, most of the BOA people who attended lectures, they have made about 30%. And I can promise you, most of them, unless something goes wrong with the company, they will become multi-baggers even from now. Each one will give 10 times in next 3 to 4 years. I am never interested in 5 and 7%. 5 and 7% is of no use. It has to
But
be
you
100%.
have already kept your money aside in 5 and 7%, isn't it?
So that is only for my safety, and that amount is very small.
Correct. So some amount
That
has to
amount
be
is
kept for
very
safety.
Yeah, you can do it. All depends on your appetite. If I did not have the money, if I had little amount of money, today we have so much, I would have put the same all amount into my equity, because I am practicing also. So my earning is also there at the same time. If you
I
take
think
a
Dr. Kulin sir has raised his hand, and Dr. Akash Patel has also raised his hand. So we go to Dr. Kulin first here.
Yeah, you see, because this is a very general audience, I would say that risk-taking appetite for every individual is different. And so according to that, your investment strategies might vary a little bit. But if I tell you in general that you fix up some amount in your mind, say for example, 1 crore or 2 crore or 4 crore or 5 crore, depending on you, what is your comfort level, till that you follow the disciplined rules of asset allocation of certain amount. Once you reach that target in your life, it might take 2 years or 5 years or whatever number of years, then you can go a little haywire, and then you can start taking a little more risk for the remaining amounts. Like how RC has kept that X amount fixed, and which takes care of his security and safety, and remaining amount one can play around in whichever way. So always in the beginning, when I'm talking about, say, even junior consultants, when they just start earning, follow the discipline very well of asset allocation until X amount of money. That may be 1 crore according to some, it may be 5 crore according to somebody else, after which you can be a little more flexible.
Sir, when you say that certain amount, what percentage of your income should be that? Like, let's say in today's scenario.
Today's scenario, I would suggest that, in the beginning, you don't live a very luxurious life. I'm assuming that people start from, without any other background, middle class level, humble background. Like I have started from almost or less than humble background, most of us probably. So control your expenses, control your even personal expenses. That doesn't mean that you live a very conjuice life. I mean, but try to control in a disciplined way and try to focus more on saving. The saving is the key word in first 5 to 7 years of your practice, or maybe up to 10 years of practice. More you save, and not only that, it is the habit of saving. And even in 2008 crisis or global crisis, India was saved because of the habit of saving. That is something very, very important to cultivate. And even your children will understand this when they are small, that dad and mom are also saving, so they will also get into that. After 5-10 years, and if you have accumulated X amount of money, then you can be a little bit flexible in taking a little more risk and then go in whichever way. I personally would not, though RC has made billions of rupees, but I would not go in the beginning in a very risky way.
Dr. Patel, you wanted to comment something.
Yeah.
Please unmute yourself.
And Dr. Nilesh also wants to.
So the thing is that, it all depends upon many people. We have this concept of risk appetite, which is probably known to everybody of us. I'd like to introduce the concept of volatility appetite. So risk appetite, जब हम बोलते हैं, it's such a common terminology that many of us don't understand. Stock जो है वो जब 30% 40% गिरता है एक ही महीने में, then it becomes really tricky. So and second thing is expertise. So even I'm an equity investor and I'm almost 100% invested in equities like Dr. R.C. Shah sir. But then I also have an asset allocation strategy as well. But the thing is that, these are the two main core concepts, that whether you can sustain the volatility, then please come to equities. Otherwise, it becomes really tricky for somebody who's totally new. कि भाई 7% तो बैंक FD में मिलता है, यहाँ तो 30% जो है वो 30 दिन में उड़ गए. So that also becomes an issue. Second thing is expertise. So if I'm, whether I'm tagging somebody else and I'm investing on, on say, WhatsApp group or Telegram group on basis of somebody else's investment, or am I using my own brains? I'm using my own research and I'm doing it. So, both needs to be considered while investing. And of course, there are other factors as well, as Dr. Puneet Kothari sir rightly pointed out, that, social factors, social liabilities, the age at which you are starting and other. So main thing with the doctors is they don't start before 35, 40 years of age. Usse pehle paisa hi nahi haath mein aata. By the time one finishes fellowship these days, he's already 35 and then, 5 years for establishing private practice. So by the time he's 40, then the textbook criteria that, age minus this should be in equities might not be. So what happens is, this is where we err, that, if you 100 minus age should be in equities, then probably, if you start investing at age of 40, if you put 60% in equities with zero expertise, then, it becomes really tricky. So that is where we need to take, everything with a pinch of salt, and that is how it would. But then again, I totally agree with Dr. Ramesh Shah sir. Nothing beats equities as far as returns are concerned, but at the same time, portfolio allocation is something, balance allocation of the portfolio is something which we should be striving for constantly. So, yeah.
Dr. Nilesh has raised his hand. He is a young ophthalmologist who started investing at a very young age, I must say that. So let's hear from Nilesh. Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you, MOS, for this opportunity also. I agree with what Kulin sir is saying. I slightly digress from what Ramesh sir said. For young ophthalmologists, first thing what has not been pointed out till now, and my humble submission will be, first we have to separate our personal finance from the finance from the business that we are doing. If we are in private practice or we are heading a hospital, that amount is not our amount to invest or to play with. That is a big misunderstanding that people often do while investing. When they see that share market is rising up, they take money from the business and they just invest on personal basis. So first, fix a salary that you want to draw from your company or your proprietorship, whatever it is. A fixed amount should come to you. That should take your expenditure also, whatever monthly expenditure that you are having, and your investment, that should be covered from that. And there should be a separate investment strategy for your hospital, because that money can't be into volatile segments. It has to be in safe instruments. And when we are in the personal thing, then first thing is to build a emergency fund. I think what everyone is saying, the word is emergency fund. At least 6 months of your personal finance should be secured in forms of instrument which are safe. Even if it is low return, it has to be safe and it has to be liquid. Like if you need it today, you can liquidate it today. You can't liquidate it 1 week later. So that once you have that amount in your bank or wherever you are investing in, then whatever risk appetite or volatility appetite you have, you can then build on that. And for hospitals, what after COVID, what I understand is we should have at least 1 year of the hospital running expenditure in the hospital in safe instrument, because we don't know when if a COVID wave or something else comes, and for 1 year we are not able to earn anything. So we can't just rely that, okay, it is in a volatile segment and I am earning, so I can just cover it up. The earning can stop anytime.
Dr. Manish, one more thing. Now that you have invested, how frequently do you monitor it, and how do you, look at how much returns it is giving? How frequently do you look at it, and how do you monitor it?
Well, that depends on the asset that I have invested. If it is a non-volatile asset, you don't have to look at it at all. But I believe we are talking about young ophthalmologists, and I think most of us for equity exposure will be looking at mutual funds. So 6 monthly inspection or assessment of your mutual fund is enough. You don't have to go and check the NAVs of your mutual funds every week or every month. I don't think that is the right way. And give your fund manager enough time. You don't change your fund just because for one quarter or 1 year your fund is not performing well. If there is something fundamentally wrong with your fund, or if there is some fraud or news of something like that, or your fund is underperforming the other funds consistently for 2 years or more, only then you should think of changing your investments. So that is for the volatile. Non-volatile, absolutely you don't need anything. You don't have to monitor those unless there is some news of some fraud or anything else. And regarding the asset allocation, I'll just like Nilesh has rightly said, we have to build up a proper portfolio. But I'll just sum up a few check boxes that you have to go about when you start your investing journey as a beginner. Your first is your primary expenses, and as Dr. Kulin sir has said that खर्चा होके जो बचेगा वो सेविंग नहीं है, सेविंग करके जो बचा वो खर्चा करना है. So you fix a target that this much you have to save every month, come what may. Once you have done that, then first and foremost buy a medical indemnity insurance. That is one thing that can ruin you. So first and foremost medical indemnity, then personal protection like Mediclaim and all those insurances. Regarding the life insurance, only term life insurance. I'm talking of beginners. Big asset holders don't need insurance at all. But Mediclaim and life insurance, that is definitely needed for you and your family. Then once you are done with this, then comes your role of, as Nilesh has said, an emergency fund. So 6 months of your personal expenses and 1 year of your professional running expenses, that has to be kept in non-volatile assets. And once we are done with that, then comes real investing, which we can divide into gold, real estate, equity, and debt. And real estate is not at all a good investment in today's scenario, and all of us already have enough in it. So we can do a proper asset allocation, which I think we will cover in the further questions. So that is the way to go about it.
Real estate is good only for people who have a lot of unaccounted money.
Exactly, sir.
There. Otherwise, from investment point of view, it is not a good thing.
So right now we have discussed the options and how much to do it. So now we'll take the individual things. Let's start with mutual funds first. So Dr. Patel, we would like to know your views on that. So many mutual fund agent will come and tell you that in what way their funds are good. So can you please tell us why one should not go for mutual funds? Or maybe just the drawbacks of that. Over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. R.C. Shah, sir. I'm very much into direct equities, and somebody who's already into direct equities would be kind of anti. It's just something like SICS, FACO debate.
So that's why this question was directed to you, because you may not favor that. Yes.
Yeah. So see, the thing is, what basically any product, like whether it's insurance or whether it is mutual fund or whatever it is, somebody's trying to sell you. You need to understand one thing, that who is the person selling. And as a investing coach, I have encountered many people wrongly invested. Like, people when they join investing coach forum, we find that, between two couples, husband and wife, both are doctors. They are sometimes advised by their mutual fund advisor or investment advisor about, say, 10 to 14 mutual funds. So the issue is that in single mutual fund, there are about, say, 25, 30 or even 50 companies. And if you, consider both the couple together, they are together invested into 500 companies. Even if one of the company moves even 100%, then to your return doesn't add to 0.5%. So your total portfolio, your total investing portfolio divided between 14 different mutual funds, that doesn't increase by even 0.25%. So that is one thing. Second thing is they keep on, showing us like a, carrot in front of a donkey of long term. But the issue is that, if you dig out the data and statistics, more than 85% of the mutual fund, and now you can Google it also, it's not my own. So you can Google it also, more than 85% of the mutual funds, they don't meet the benchmark. So the issue is that, if they are not even, beating the benchmarks, then probably it becomes like, if I'm not giving even average vision, like if I'm not giving even 660 vision to my patient for my phaco surgery patient, then probably, I might not be the right surgeon for a patient to come to me and operate. So that is also second thing. Third thing is the multiplicity. So there are more mutual funds right now in market than there are stocks in the market. So the issue is also that how do you choose and pick? So you resort to a mutual fund advisor, and now he has the skin in the game, and he sometimes, he solely advises on the basis of, now we are not, tagging everybody, but majority of the times what happens is because he has some commission which is obtaining, he tends to advise you more and more mutual funds. This is what routinely I have seen happening with the doctors, that एक mutual fund में डाला, फिर 2-3 महीने बाद या 6 महीने बाद ही they will, ask you to switch to another mutual fund. So, you keep on toggling, your portfolio goes nowhere. अभी ये अच्छा है, फिर 6 महीने बाद ये वो वाला अच्छा है, 3 साल बाद जो है वो अच्छा है. So, that doesn't really work well for you or your portfolio. Fourth issue is also that the expenses. So you are paying good Lord 2% expenses, plus sometimes there are hidden charges which are sometimes neither told to you by the mutual fund people, or sometimes even by the person who is trying to sell you the mutual fund. So those hidden charges can go into lakhs and crores. So just imagine that young ophthalmologist who is say around say 35-40 and has to invest 1 crore in a mutual fund. He pays 2%, which is kind of, usually the bare minimum. So he keeps on investing for, next 25 years. So let us presume that he is going to invest for long term and be there for whichever mutual fund it is. We are not property of X, Y, or Z. 2% charges every year on 1 crore rupees. On the face of it is nearly 50 lakhs at the end of the 50 years. Now, when you have such mentors like Dr. Archie Shah sir, Dr. Kulin Kothari sir, and others who have done it, and they have done it successfully, and you don't need to go, long way. And then you are spending 50 lakh rupees just to learn that how to go about these things and not obtaining even the benchmark returns, then probably that gets, really tricky. Index mutual funds, probably if you don't know anything, then probably you might want to go for it. It's something which is, if kuch nahi aata, to jo hai wo aap at least ECC, SICS to kar hi sakte ho. I'm not degrading any surgery or anything like that. Just giving an analogy. Wo to aap kar hi sakte ho. So one can always opt for, say the ones in which, you don't, the index fund is something which you should go about. But equity mutual funds, if you have good mentors, probably, you might not really want to opt for it. You can gradually start doing those things on your own. Within 1 to 3 years, probably you will catch up and then really be ready to go, on your own. So
I think Dr. Manoj sir is an expert in mutual funds, and we would like to have his
yes.
comments and which are the best mutual funds that he
the
can
debate,
join today, and
No.
can answer in a debate to Dr.
Yes.
No, I can ansser now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please, sir.
I'm not
Yeah,
an
waiting.
expert. I'm a doctor like you also. My knowledge is also a non-trained background sort of thing. No. Few things is Akash has said that if you're doing the mutual investments on your own, then the management fees you pay is only 0.5% on an average, not 2%, nothing else. So I've got a portfolio of mine. I've got 5 schemes. Now there are people who may be having. See, we advise that you should have maybe about 4 or 5 mutual fund schemes. That's it. That's more than enough for average persons. You don't need 14, 15, 20. So first is that more than 4 or 5 schemes are not required. If you're doing on your own, which is very easy to do, the commission you pay, not commission, it's management fees which you pay is only 0.5% a year. That's nothing, that's negligible. And you get professional management, professional expertise with peace of mind. You go to sleep, not to worry about. And there are quite a few independent websites, especially valuesearchonline.com, which are absolutely independent, and they give you ratings of the schemes. So depending on your risk profile, you can choose, you want equity, you want debt, you want mixed schemes, you want gold, you want to plan for retirement, for short term, long term, medium term, no risk, etc. All combinations are possible. You want value style of investment, you want growth style of investment, whatever you want, very high risk, you got thematic funds, sectoral funds, you can invest internationally, sit with rupees peacefully, and every money goes to the professionals who know much more than you and me. And the investment is done without any risk, not any risk, but without much headaches. and you just need to spend a little time initially to decide on what to do, and then you can just go peacefully enjoy it. Now, the problem is that you have agents also. Now, what is the agent's business? He is looking at his pocket. It is your money which gives him commission. So he's going to give you wrong advice. So you have to be aware and not fall for it. Similarly, as if you want to buy direct shares on your own, then how will you we got 5,000 companies in India. Which one will you buy? Have you any idea about the financials of a company? What are the different ratios? What is the future prospects of a company? See, we've got RC Shah and Akash here to guide you. So similarly, we are experts in mutual funds also, which can guide you. But if you don't have these mentors, then will you be able to buy a company on your own? No way. It's a statistically fact that 90%, 98% of the people who invest in shares market directly lose money. This is universal rule. RC is one of the exceptions. He comes to the remaining 2% who makes tons of money. And we are doctors don't have enough the time and patience to actually analyze a company and keep track of it day in and day out. If you buy mutual funds, then you can just put in good funds, 5-star rating or whatever, and just look at the performance maybe every few weeks, few months, and just enjoy. If you buy shares on your own, then you need to keep every track of the market volatility every day. Is it possible? How many of us understand the different ratios? None of us. Okay. So mutual funds is the way to go. You will get decent returns. You will not get phenomenal returns, but you will get piece of returns, which will be almost double the fixed income returns, which I'm betting for the last 25 years. Okay.
Dr. Manish wanted to say something.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, just wanted to add to Dr. Manoj. No doubt that direct equity investing beats mutual fund hands down. But tell me, when you are a resident doing your first cataract case, were you confident? Were you knowing? So we are talking to the beginners. I want to emphasize that the take-home message is the correct one. Don't try to imitate Akash Patel and RC Shah and Kulin Kothari right at the start of your investing journey. Go slow, learn, samjho, seekho, then go to equity, no doubt about it. But to start with, I agree very much with Manoj sir. And as regards the fund charges, if you have some very basic knowledge about selecting funds, you can go for direct mutual funds where the expenses are very minimal.
Yeah. So Dr. Akash has raised his hand, and Kulin sir also. So Dr. Akash, would you like to add
and
something?
Dr. RC sir has also raised his hand. He wants to say
Okay.
something.
Dr. Akash, you are muted.
See,
Maybe
for
Dr.
ophthalmologist who doesn't know, who's just a beginner or who's just venturing out, like I said, that you can opt for mutual funds, no harm in it. You should be rather, then let it be an index fund rather than, equity mutual fund rather than, index fund is something which you should go for to begin with. Simple, no nonsense, and you will get the benchmark returns. It won't be great returns, but it will be really, and then you can slowly start. See, what I want to tell you is I'm just pushing your horizons further. That please don't stop with the mutual funds. काफी बार क्या होता है कि हम वो करते हैं कि म्यूचुअल फंड्स मतलब डायरेक्ट इक्विटीज में माथापच्ची बहुत है तो इसमें क्यों पड़े. It's not great. It's not that. And nowadays you have basket orders. So what one can do is you can select 20 different stocks. You don't have to do anything. It takes less than 0.01 second every month. With help of basket orders, you can make a pool of 20 different stocks, create a basket. Just one right swipe on first Monday, say, of every month, and you are done and dusted. Simple and no nonsense thing. So it gives you an equally mutual fund type of. These were the facilities which were not available even before 5 years or 10 years. So you have now these things which are available in the market, and with the help of basket orders. And the second thing is that you can always replicate. Say professionals have chosen, you find that XYZ mutual fund is there. That data is always there on the net. It is available for public viewing also. If you feel that you like a mutual fund advisor or two, or maybe or somebody whom you idealize, like Dr. RC Shah sir or whoever, then probably you can take cues from there, create a basket of your 20 different stocks. Please make them, again, there should be mid cap, large cap, and small cap, depending upon that. That also should be kind of varied portfolio. It should not be a concentrated portfolio strictly towards small and micro caps, unless you know what you are doing or what you are up to. But then you can always do that. So that is one thing which is a recent development, which probably many of us fail to consider while investing.
So we have with us Dr. Trupti. Yeah, yes, Kulin sir, maybe first.
Yeah, just a quick comment that in the beginning, you are obviously concerned more about the safety of your money. Then the growth is of course important, but the safety is more important. So what I have been doing in my beginning of practice also, every year I would put maximum amount of money in that PPF kind of instrument. Now PPF used to be at that time say 1 lakh rupees or 75,000. Now it is 1.5 lakhs. It gives about 8% of tax-free income, which is reasonably good. It may not be comparable to a very large equity returns, but in the beginning, your mindset is thus 8% of tax-free is good enough, and that is only for 1.5 lakhs rupees every year in each file, your wife's file, your family member's file, etc. So that's number one. Then you go for large cap, which are known things. I'm not trying to give any tips or something, but known large caps are like L&T and Reliance and SDFC and things like that, either directly or through mutual fund. That is a separate subject itself. But then go for large caps. Mid caps and small caps can give probably better returns, but there is a allied risk also a little more than that. I'm talking about only in first 2 to 4, 5 years of time. You go step by step, and this will teach you a lot of things. And then one can customize about one's own risk-taking appetite, and then your advisors, etc. So initially, first 4 or 5 years, you would be very, very disciplined to follow certain rules.
So, Dr. Trupti, you've been quite quiet during the session, and you are the only female in this panelist list with us. So, we would like to know your views as well.
Yeah, thank you, Amos and everyone. See, I absolutely second the thought of Kulin sir, Akash. That's true. But what's very important is like whenever you're trying to invest, always try to how much liquid you would be able to have for your emergency. That would also be very important thing. And related to this mutual fund, like even if you're in the early days of your practice, whether even if you are a resident, I think at my time, the residential pay was 8,000 rupees. Now, at least they are getting more than 40 to 60,000 rupees. So at least maybe 1/10 of it or 1/6 of it, you try to invest in your mutual fund if you want to. Yeah,
we were getting 650 rupees per month.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, sir. Even 1,000 rupees or whatever. But my friend, I'm telling you, my friend herself, I was not knowing during my residency, she invested for 3 years period time in that ULIP. I was not even knowing what it was at that period of time. But she could generate a very good amount during her residency, and she could use that amount to build her hospital for future. So main thing is like, even if you are confused, go just for those stocks or those mutual funds where they are being sustaining for a long period of time in their life of almost 50 to 70 years, and they are into the market or the leaders into the market or into their sectors. So that should be your goal. Even if you don't know the sectors, leave it the sectors thing. Even if you're investing in every month, if you take like sectoral, you have Nifty Bs, you have your ITBs or something, you can invest 500, 600 or 1,000 rupees in that and keep on building up. So other thing is like building your legendary. I know this is not related now exactly to the mutual fund, but what I'm trying to say is that you can build your legendary portfolio also, where you can have we have the cancelling system of score. Okay, any of those first 4 or first 3, you can invest every month. You keep on investing in those particular share. Suppose if I'm giving an example, like Asian Paints is a very long.
We'll come to stock market.
What I'm trying to say, you can club and put a basket order of this. What Akash has said, those come and divide it. You have those small scales and all. You can use those funds, and you can do the savings. That's from my side.
Okay. So let's hear Ramesh sir's view as well. Sir has raised his hand on the mutual funds.
I'll tell you two stories which is there with a young ophthalmologist. Both of them were there with me in Pramukh Swami. One person was buying MRF shares from his childhood. He never invested in mutual or anything else. Whatever pocket money he has, he was taking 1 share, 10 shares. And he average cost for his purchase was 80 rupees. And after 15 years, he sold those shares and bought a nursing home of 4 crore rupees in Bombay, South Bombay. The second one is my own student at Pramukh Swami Hospital. He had 20 lakh rupees in his fixed deposit. He met me once. I said, remove the money from the bank. He put the money which I told him, these are the shares you buy. And he bought the nursing home last month of 3 crores. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you are a young person, I think you should take more risk. Because that is the only way where you can make a big time money. The chances of failure if you have a good calculated share is only 10%, but 90% of the time you succeed in a big way. I'll tell you one more story. We have purchased one Suryalata spinning mill, which was a very well managed company. For 6 years, it did not move. 120 and 180. And now, in last 1 year, it became 1,000 rupees. So you have to understand the company. Any good manufacturing company, you keep it for 4 or 5 years. I'm not saying that you sell your house and buy it. But next 3 years is not the time for any fixed deposit, any fixed income. Next 3 years is the time for taking a risk. You have to take you are a qualified person. Even if I had lost all the money one time, but I came back because I'm a practicing surgeon today. I have an income. I'm not going to go bankrupt because my practice is not going to go down to zero. So, and if your wife is working, if she's earning, I don't think you have to learn to take the risk to have a big money. If you want 10, 15%, then you can carry on. But I will take the risk till I'm alive. And it has really worked very well. In 1 month, who gives 30% after BOA lecture with zero cost to them? Every script which has been given to them on the day of BOA meeting has given 30% return till today in 1 month's time. So you learn to take the risk for next 3 years. Then you forget it. You can switch over to mutual fund or fixed deposit or RBI bond. But next 2 to 3 years is to make big time money in India.
So, sir, a question to you and Dr. Akash as well. How do you scientifically study these stocks and decide? Because see, every time there may or may not be a mentor who would tell you, and each time for a brokerage.
It's a very common sense. You don't need, you are a very intellectual person. You use your common sense. Now the maximum money is spent by government today. They are forming a port. They are emphasizing more on the water transport. So you need to create a port. They have allotted 80,000 crores to create multiple ports of at least 450 ports. Now India do not have the deep water, so you have to dig it. So the first company to invest is Dredging Corporation of the government. That is how you select it. Then they had a Kusum Yojana, which was started 5 years back. It did not do well, but still we are making about 3 times the money which we have invested in the past. That is the second way. So many things are happening in the world here. Just follow
Can
the.
we have someone else's views also on how to choose a share? Maybe Dr. Pulin sir or Dr. Kurti madam.
Nilesh, yeah, he's also put his.
So for Kulin sir first.
Yeah, Nilesh. Maybe Nilesh.
It's a very tricky thing how to choose a good share. So I think the track record of last 15, 20 years is very important. I believe there are fundamental and technical analysts here present who are much more expert.
That's why there are some values like ROE, ROC, beta, all that. So how do we choose? Maybe Dr.
Trupti could be a better person to answer this. But I go on a more on a track record of proven companies. and coming to RC's point, I personally feel that from day one should not take risk.
Absolutely.
Go save for 3 to 5 years and then do whatever you want to do. I mean, let's think about the experience of a surgeon. Supposing in first year, instead of getting a lot of money, if he loses a lot of money, then it's a totally different scenario altogether.
See, It is like this. The present, it's a timing which counts. Present time is to take the risk. I'm not telling you. See, when the COVID came, just before COVID, we removed all the money and put it in the bank. The moment COVID came, we removed the money and put it back into the equity. This is a timing. next 2 to 3 years, if you're going to see a massive rally, which everybody tells, not me, then it is time to take the risk. After 3 years, don't take the risk. Go back to the mutual fund and wherever you want.
I think
It's a
let's
timing
understand
which
how to
counts.
choose the share. Let's understand on that. Maybe Dr. Trupti, if you can tell us. Or Dr. Nilesh or Dr. Akash.
Let Akash start. I will second Akash.
See,
One comment is that when you're buying a basket
Yeah,
of shares,
my
it's something
see,
it's something similar to mutual
yeah.
funds, isn't it? It's something
My-
similar to a small
It is.
mutual fund.
Main thing is like, first of all, as Dr. R.C. Shah sir himself said, that we have to be acquainted with all what's going on in the current present market or current future also. We have to know. Like a lot of government schemes are coming. Plus, now the focus is on the road construction, building up, four ways. That is also one sector which is getting up with that. In that, the transport, the logistics, and other things come. The other thing is like the companies, as Dr. Kulin sir has said, which have been functioning for last 10-15 years, or who are having a net cash flow more. If you go on the fundamental side and the balance sheet side, we need to know like the free cash flows are there in that or not. Just 1 second. So those plus how, as we know, like few of the stocks are there, whether it's Dabur, whether it's Asian Paint, or how they double up in 4 to 5 years time, how things changes with them. So such stocks we should be knowing. The sectors we should be focusing up, like during the COVID time, the chemical sector had come up. Then your pharma sector had come up. Now, with all the US problems and recently the UK and the war, whatever the issues were there, and the IT was down past 1.5 years. The other, we have to know like which sectors are there for the future. Now, presently, my orientation was more related to this Make in India concept also, like that Vande Bharat concept, Welthale, auto industries, and others. So those were the things what I chose. PSU, just, from last 6 months, PSU is working up as a sector. And other thing, like few of them just want to invest for the part of dividend also. Because if they get a good dividend, so the good dividend companies, what you get is in your even ITC gives, then NMDC is there, then few of those sectors are there. And the next, which would be your renewable energies, yet it is an artificial intelligence. This is going to be another sector for the near future. I'm not telling that immediately, but this sector is going to be, so we have to work on those things. Akash can speak.
So maybe you can, Dr. Patel, you can put a light on how do you select
Hitesh
which
wants to say
stock to
something.
take? What points do you consider?
The stock selection is a really tricky thing to summarize or give it in this thing. But basically, I'll give you a broader idea. See, basically, what we do on investing, which is we basically select on basis of what is called as techno funda approach. Which I have flipped it. I have called it as fundo techno approach. So basically, the stock should be fundamentally good. Then you apply the technicals and the knowledge of technicals, and you buy it on the breakout, and then you carry it on the higher side. So that is how usually we go about things. But then one needs to understand that, like, phaco cataract extraction, there are several methods of that. So it's not only just, phaco surgery ko ek hum naam de dete, but then you have stop and chop, you have, say, all sort of direct chops and divide and conquer and also. So similarly, investing also, depending upon the stock which you are zeroing in, not every time this ROE, ROC, or all the fundamentals or all the technicals will go by your side. So sometimes what we do is contra investing, and those contra investing bets have played really well. So one of the example was hotel stock. So in the peak of the COVID, when the hotels were obviously, the most afflicted, He bought one stock, and I will not be discussing the names because the same has been recommended to investing coach members, and it becomes a bit conflict of interest. But we bought it at 14 rupees price. Right now, it is at nearly 100 rupees price. So, you can make such wealth just within 2 to 3 years if you opt for a contra investment. At that point in time, none of the fundamentals will be, on the favor or on your favor. None of the technicals will be on your favor. The references which we take usually on the fundamental side, what happens is they are usually 3 to 6 months back. So you can have a broader idea that, okay, the company is doing well or the company is growing. But at the same time, you can have the valuations. You need to consider the valuations also. And if those things are, on your side, then probably, you are better off making more money. The thing is that you should not be overpaying for a stock. All you do and whatever you do, you should not be overpaying for the stock. What happens is usually for a newbie, when he appears to the stock market, क्या होता है कि सबने ले लिया फिर लास्ट में वो enter होता है, especially into the direct equities. He pays the highest price. What is the talk of the town, and then he lands up goofing up, और फिर उसका appetite तो होता ही नहीं है. Then he makes a distress sell 20-30% down, and then comes out and saying the stock market is bad. So you need to have some sort of patience. You need to use the broader principles which are there, just like we have for examining patient को just examine करते, we don't directly take it to the OT table. ऐसे ही you need to examine the stock very systemically based on fundamentals, then technicals, and then if you buy, your odds of making money will really work. And then you always have the themes which keep on rotating every 6 months or 1 year or every 3 years, which Dr. Ramesh Shah sir likes to play, and even I like to play. So basically, like I said, there were hotel stocks. Now going forward, the PSUs were also there. PSU banks especially were there, and the ones in which we made real good money was this war mein all those companies which were related to war and this thing. So HL, BDL, BEL, so all those stocks really make good money. So at certain point in time, some of the themes will really play well, and that is how if you know how to pick themes, then probably you will make better money than just by passive investing. So what type of investing you are wanting to do, most of it would depending on that. आप 20 साल के लिए इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, then you are a passive investor. आप 5 साल में जो है वो you want to take the money out, then you need to play the market cycle or the business cycle of the stock. If you want to play for say few months or couple of years, then probably you are better off playing a theme. So that is how it usually goes when it comes to picking a stock.
Yeah. So Dr. KK Mehta sir, how did you start, and then do you also think like using stop loss and learning the technicals? Do you think it is important for us as ophthalmologists also to learn all that? I mean, how easy or difficult it is, and whether it is practical more than anything else?
I'll tell you. I joined Bombay Stock Exchange courses. When I first joined, people looked at me, here is an old man sitting in the middle of young kids. It all started because I had my money invested with one of the top range guys. And the results which they gave me were literally quite poor. So I thought to myself, that why should I have to listen to other people? Why can't I do it myself? And I had spoken to Ramesh Bhai once. Ramesh is a storehouse of information. You should learn to tap him. Either way, I spoke to him, and then we started work. He started advising me as to what really should be done. Either way, I said, before you make a decision, you must have knowledge. So I joined the stock exchange courses. I joined 3-4 of the courses, and that was the end of the whole affair. Then I looked into the matters, and then I looked into how Jhunjhunwala was making his money and what was the logic, and how was some of the top investors, including the Berkshire Group, managing. And the funny thing was, it became very obvious. You have two options. You can play the market, in other words, 10-15% ऊपर नीचे खेलने के लिए. You can play the stock market. That is for fun. You get bored, you play. But long-term investment is where you will make your money. And what you need to do is, number one, you have to be able to read every day. You should be getting at least 4 or 5 of the papers and knowing as to what is happening. One of the reasons why Ramesh has succeeded so well, Ramesh, you don't mind calling him by a first name. His reason is because he thinks long-term. I'll give you an example. He had once had a stock which he mentioned about a pump. The pump stock has literally worked out very well. Why? Because he said agriculture is going to come up in the long term. Why will Junjunwala make so much money? We are talking of a lot of money. I'm not talking of 10%, 15%. And I can easily do 5 more cataracts and get that money. I don't really am bothered about it. But the thing is very simple. You take what you want to and then proceed forward. To give an example, at present in America, what is the biggest source of income is armament. India for the first time has gone into the armament industry. So you have to look and find a good share which runs in the armament industry and hang on to it for a minimum period of at least 6 months or a year before the stock will come. Infrastructure is now going to be the next biggest developer. Look into the shares which give that and invest your money in that. That will yield you big returns in the long term. I had invested at the time of COVID, I had invested in hotels. And hotels are now come up very well. Small hotels have come up extremely well. So, I mean, you look long term and say, after 1 year, what is going to happen? And then take a call for that. आज का नहीं, आज का तो कुछ बनने वाला नहीं है. ठीक है, ICL का थोड़ा ऊपर गया, नीचे आया. ACC stocks are frozen at 1500. But that is really no meaning at all. ACC is a good company. You know it is going to go up. If you want to buy it, just you can buy, but it is not going to change for at least another 8-9 months. The money is frozen. So you have to decide on what you are going to take and invest in the long term. I mean, that is my basic principle. I mean, I play the market also for fun. But I mean, you feel happy that thoda paisa banaya, but that is it. But the amount of time and effort spent in it is not worth it. But most important thing is read. Because unless you know what is happening in the market, you will never be able to be an investor where you're going to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick comments from Dr. RC Shah sir, Dr. Trupti, Dr.
Dr.
Nilesh.
Nilesh.
Yeah,
Dr. Nilesh also, he has raised his hand.
First of all, I'm talking of today. I'm not talking in the past. Today, I will not buy a single share which is belonging to A group because A group shares have already given us enough returns. I will buy the shares which are going to become an A group, which are going to give a fundamental very good returns, and they will become like Tatas and Birla in future. So that is my first concept. I will never buy A group shares today. It was okay 3 years back, but no A group shares at present. And whatever shares we have recommended in BOI lectures, I can promise you, unless the company has some fire or something, they will become a real 10 to 20 times multi-bagger, 10 to 20 times in next 3 years. And I'm very confident. And believe me, I have percentage in all these companies.
I entirely agree with Ramesh Bhai. Because you see, if you're going to make money just now, you can only make it in B and C categories. In the top category, it is frozen. The amount which you're going to make, 4,000 का शेयर 4,200 में आए तो कौन सा छत बनाया तुमने? It is that 20 रुपए का शेयर which becomes 60 and 70 and 80 which matters.
No, sir, 20 rupiah will become 2,000.
I agree.
We want that.
I'm saying short
Dr.
term.
Nilesh, Dr. Trupti.
Yeah, I just
I-
wanted to add the thing is like technical analysis is not very difficult. It is simple maths. That's my personal mentor who has mentored me. He has told me that stock market is all mathematics. It's all scientific. Nothing is abnormal in it. And very small formulas are there, not too many big things. You should just know the phases. There are only 4 phases in the market. If you are able to catch those 4 phases properly, you know where to invest and where not to invest. Okay. If you invest in the accumulation phase, definitely you built up wealth creation like Dr. RC does, which he does at the accumulation level. He knows when to sell and what is the period he wants to keep it. Okay. So the other funda is like, my funda is like, if a stock, doubles, you can sell it. Half you can sell and others you can take out your money, whatever is there. But those remaining shares, you can adjust it. Okay. The other thing is like, even if your stock, have reached, suppose, that at a certain point, the stock has rejection at that level. So I know Dr. RC sir is not in that funda to never sell his stocks, but I'm just trying to sell. maybe you can counterbalance by selling 30% of it. And related to the studies, I just wanted to tell that it is not so difficult. It's just a simple mathematics. If you understand, you would be able to win very properly, and you should be knowing when it is in a upward phase, uptrend phase, and when it is in downtrend phase. If you know that, you can win many things. And personally, many people I have trained, and we have a group where we do personalized trading also, but it's not so difficult. It's just a weekend if you invest and if you understand those concepts,
Dr. Nilesh, yeah.
easier.
So, I want to make a beginner's perspective from here. Because when we don't have expertise, as everybody is saying, then we should have there is a concept of portfolio allocation. Then there's within portfolio allocation should also be there. So whatever you are investing into equity, that should be categorized into large cap, mid cap, and small cap. So as a beginner, for me, it is 50% in large cap, because I know they are going to stay, even if they are not going to give good returns. They are going to give returns better than the fixed income assets such as FD or bonds. And then 30% goes into mid cap and 20% goes into small cap. So in 50%, that large caps category, I have no brainer. It directly goes into ETF, index ETF. I do in the top 50 companies, and I just leave it there because they are going to grow on a certain pace, slow, but they will be there. That they give an anchor to my portfolio. And then in 30% and 20%, I have to choose. So as everybody was saying, we have to see for the future what is going on. So as everybody was saying, infrastructure, and what I see is renewable energy, electronic vehicle, and solar energy and wind energy. These companies are going to be the future. And recently AI has come up. So even then again, tech stocks will come back into focus. So these are the sectors that we have to look in. To segregate, to find out how the stocks work, because as everybody knows, we don't have that much time, and also not everybody will have that much interest as we hold in doing fundamental analysis. They just want a tip or something. So what I use is ticker tape. There are multiple applications like that. What ticker tape does is it gives me all the ratios and all the values, and it has a screener option. So what I do is I first find out in this sector, what is the benchmark ROC, that is the return of on ROC and ROE, the expenditure and equity, whatever it is there, because it differs in each segment. If it is infrastructure, then ROC will be more, because capital expenditure is more to get returns in that. So we have to find out which companies are beating that benchmark. There is a screener that happens, and then in each stock, like out of 100, then it gives me 20 so that they are beating the benchmark. In those 20, I first see for the red flags, like if is there any bad news or anything, then I remove that. That is complete no, I'm not going to take the stock. So I now get 10 stock out of 10. Then what Akash sir is telling, or everybody also told, I build a small cap or a basket. So a basket, it automates the order. So in start of each financial, I have this, I select almost like 20-25 companies. I make a basket. Every month there is some input going into that, and then there is a concept called buying into dip. So what now the broker in this Upstock or Zerodha are doing is there is an option called as GTT. Like if the share goes below a certain price, then you will get a hit that, okay, this is below the mark. So resistance level, what Trupti ma'am will elaborate.
Anaga, can I interrupt?
Dr. Manoj, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think we are missing the whole purpose of this session. See, I believe that the audience which we have are going to be young ophthalmologists, juniors who practically have no knowledge or expertise of the share market or whatever. But the talk, I think, is going towards somebody who knows share market, who understands. I am significant knowledge of finance, but I'm telling you what I've heard from the expert speaking is going even above my head. So I can understand what the lay people will understand. I think we are missing the whole wood for the trees. Please come back to basics. I think we are making a mistake here. That's my personal opinion. I hope you all don't mind.
No, sir. Exactly. Actually, the next question was, how much
perfectly said.
time do we? How much
Because I
time
think
does each
we
person
are
invest time
taking
in all
a PG lecture for the UGs. Are we correct?
Yes, you are
100%,
sure,
I
sir.
don't
Yeah.
understand.
100% agree, sir.
I think
100% I
I'm
agree.
sure most of the audience would have switched off the session. I'm sure.
Yes,
Please, I hope
I'm
people
sure.
don't mind here, but we are missing a lot of things here. No, I don't think we are
Exactly.
doing the right thing.
You have,
Please, I'm
you
sorry.
have hit the nail actually. You have hit the nail. You are
Exactly, that
perfectly
is what
correct.
I may be rude,
I
but I
also-
think that's a fact.
I also wanted to say that thing, but I could not muster enough courage to say that. But really, what all the experts have said, I 100% agree. You are correct. But how many of our audience is going to understand?
I'm telling you, I don't understand. See, I'm here as one of the panelists, and I don't understand these things. So you can imagine what the lay people will understand.
Right. So
This
we
is
want to give
just an
a good
overview
take-home
that there are people with, little more knowledge in
presence.
everything. Let each person will
But
have.
Anaga, listen, it's international statistics. 98% of people in share market will lose money.
Sir,
So, okay,
exactly.
so we see there are some people, Akesh, Kulinbhai or RC, they are experts. But either you follow them blindly, don't use your brain, and that's it. Okay, or
No,
you
you
try to
should
study
not
on your
follow
own and
them
then do on
blindly.
your own. So
No,
we
you
take
shouldn't
baby
follow
steps in
anybody
them.
blindly. Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely right.
So that's
You
why
should
we
not
were
follow
trying to
anybody
divide
blindly.
this. We were trying to divide this session in
And again,
all the aspects of investment,
see, what is
including the
happening
mutual
here?
funds,
What is
PPF,
happening here
and
is
stock.
what is happening on the financial channels on the TV. We have 20 financial channels. They bombard you with information. So in the last, it's been 1 hour 15 minutes. I think we have spoken, I think almost more than an hour on direct equity.
Right.
Okay, that's my view.
Yeah, Dr. Trupti, you want to say something? Dr. Trupti, you can
Muted.
unmute and say.
Yeah.
So main thing is just like they have to decide what they want to do.
Hey, 1 minute. This is a very broad
Yeah,
answer.
I'm just trying to come very
We
basic
are
at a
talking
basic
about
level. That's
investing
why
in a particular segment and all that. But
No,
the
not
specific
segment. I'm
question
not
was-
speaking about any segment or anything, sir. I'm just trying to tell you that each individual who are going to start, they should just know where safely they can lodge their things.
So how will they know that? How will they know
Exactly,
that?
how will they know?
This is a session meant for that.
Exactly. What is meant by EPS? What is
That's what we
to
are
look at?
discussing, na, sir.
No,
Even
nobody
you were
told
discussing
about
about
that.
the
Yeah,
mutual
let's
fund.
move
We were
on.
discussing
Let's
about
move
that.
on from yes,
Kulin
Dr.
sir.
Trupti, let's move on.
Yeah.
Hear from Dr. Kulin.
Kulin.
And Manoj sir, we've understood your point, but we really wanted to touch on all the aspects of investment. That's why we divided the questions as
I'm
mutual
not
funds, PPF,
Persing-
PPF, and stocks and everything. So let's hear from Kulin sir, please.
Yeah, I'll make 3 quick comments. 2 general. Number 1 is long-term investment is very important to understand the power of compounding. The power of compounding is extremely important, and the benefits will come only after a few years. That's just point number 1. Point number 2, I strongly believe that stock exchange is neither a place for gambling nor is a place for entertainment. If it is for gambling, you go to Las Vegas or wherever you want to go. If it is for entertainment, you go to nightclubs. But stock exchange is not the place for gambling or entertainment. It requires a strict discipline of investments. That's point number 2 I wanted to make. And point number 3, which was kind of discussed in the last couple of minutes, the audience is a very general, though they are extremely intelligent, RC. They are very intelligent, otherwise they would not become so successful eye surgeons. But they are specially trained for ophthalmology, and they may not have enough inclination or enough expertise to understand the investments. So for general ophthalmologists to select right stocks, right equity may be very difficult or sometimes impossible. So some of the things I tend to agree with what Manoj says, that we have to understand, and we have to tell here the take-home messages should be for general ophthalmologists who are beginners or at a middle level, and what they should do rather than very high risk taking, which all of us have been taking. I mean, I have lost more than 1 crore rupees in a day. That kind of risk I've been taking, but that is not for everybody.
So I think then
Very valid points.
very
Dr.
valid
Kulin, sir.
points.
Excellent points. So how to choose a stock? That was a very simple question, but nobody answered. Everybody said about, I have given this about a month ago and it has become 30 times, and that is not the thing. If an investor or a newcomer wants to choose a share to invest, what parameters should be looked into? That is a very simple question.
Sir,
Whether
I
he
can
has
answer
read the
in
book-
simple way this.
Can somebody quickly answer that?
Quickly to the point answers. You're muted.
I think Shah sir has raised his hand. Maybe we can ask him.
I think Akash Patel can answer
was-
that question.
Sir, I was just going and explaining about the same thing. What I use for stock picking is whatever that was the question and trying to answer, right, is use of research institutes like Ticker Tip is there, Value Research is for mutual. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, sir. So Ticker Tip is one such platform. There are multiple platforms like that. So
Your internet is
Yeah,
unstable. I think you can switch off your video.
He has already switched off his video. Or is he frozen?
Dr. Manish, can you comment on this question, please?
Well, I think I can give you a take-home message on mutual fund selection if you allow me at the end of the session. Because stock, again, I
Okay.
think RC sir has something to say.
See, what I suggested is that not because I have told them and they made 30%. No. The whole idea is that you get a training so that you can select a stock which can give this kind of returns. That is why I said that the government is spending so much of money. So you select something where government is spending. Like in case of port, then they are spending a lot
Yeah,
of
I
money.
understood that.
So you select something which is involved in development of port. They want to shift the transport which is on the roadside. Now, when you transport the goods on the roadside, it costs 17%. But if you
Sir,
transport
we
by
have
water,
already discussed these points.
So
We have
what-
already talked on these two points. Port and transport, we have already talked.
no. What I'm trying to tell you is that you understand the base of it. There are many scripts, many ways
No,
of doing it.
But in port, let us say there are 5 shares and each share has different book value. Each share has different return on investment. Each share has different NPS. So how to choose from those 5 shares which deal with port? That is the question. How do you choose that?
I think
Dr.
the Trupti might be able to tell you better because I am not very much familiar. I always go with the fundamental, which and the growth prospect for the next 3 years.
Akash can answer on that.
Yeah, you can answer.
See, there are basically, like I said, the techno and funda approach are the two basic things for selecting a stock, whether it is for trading or investing, respectively. Number one thing. Number two thing, if you're asking for investing, I can elicit the ROE, ROC. I can go into all those technical jargons which are there, and EPS and a PE ratio and all those things. But then that will make things only more complex for a beginner. And second thing is basically when you have all those parameters which somebody said that I'll go to the screener and I'll screen those stocks based on ROE, ROC. When you have those excellent ROE, ROC, screener sabke paas hai. That also one needs to understand. Is screener sabke paas hai. When you go to that and you choose an ideal stock for investment, by that time the stock would have been overvalued, would have been super valued. By the time the stock would have been at all-time high. So I don't think so Dr. RC Shah sir or myself chooses the stocks on the basis of those fundamental parameters strictly following the textbook. So this we need to understand that there are parameters which are available. I can go on and on. We have lectures ranging from 2 to 3 hours on each of the topics. When we ask that the question is how do you choose the stock for investment? Now that is, how do you select a patient for surgeries? It is as big a question as it is. Now, whether it is eye surgeries or it is a neurosurgery, you need an anesthesia fitness or you want an ideal cataract patient. So, one can go on and on talking about each of the parameters for hours. So the thing is that basically, if you want the textbook answer, then that is fundamental approach for investing, technical approach for trading. In fundamentals, you have ROE, ROC, P ratio, EPS, dividend to yield ratio, and so many parameters. So that is how you go about screening the stocks, and then it should meet your objective and the horizon. So that is how I would sum it up.
So basically, our aim today was to give an overview to all. So we have a mixed audience. It may not be just young ophthalmologists. We also have the entire MOS and AIOS people also watching, and this will be in the records on YouTube also. So each input from each of you panelists, esteemed panelists, is going to benefit someone or the other. Maybe even if they have not understood, it will be a motivation for them to read up a little more,
Yes.
maybe inspire them to read up a little more. See, something which we don't understand, we go back and read. So for me, actually, I will take it as a learning experience. Dr. Manish, you
A
said
quick
would give,
ad from
the
my
quick
side.
briefing
I'll,
on,
I'll,
have
come to
one
me,
more
I'll
thing.
train
Please,
you
please.
more than a FACO, you can train your FACO fellow with. You come to me for a year, just hang on with me. I'll train you more than a
I
FACO.
think you will get a lot
Quick
of
ad
students.
from my
One more
side.
I'll tell you one more thing. There is a lecture by Dr. Mr. Saurabh Mukherjee on a YouTube where he gives all these things in detail. It's a 45 minutes, and his concept of selecting the company are the best explained in that YouTube
Right.
channel.
So I think
instead of
each of
reading,
you
in
give
case
the
you-
best tip today, take home message as an
So
end.
if you want to really learn,
Yes.
go to YouTube. Saurabh Mukherjee has given a wonderful lecture. Listen to that lecture. It is 45 minutes and it is one of the best lecture I have learned from.
Also, he has authored
Thank
3
you.
books. You can read those books also. Saurabh is my personal friend. I know him very personally. Wonderful books he has written.
Yeah, so Anaga ma'am, looks like we have
A quick ad, should I add something?
Yes, please. Yes,
A
go ahead.
quick,
Go ahead.
yeah,
session.
concluding remark.
The aim of this session was to touch all the aspects of personal finance and not just the equity or stock. So we have not touched the topics like merely PPF and fixed FDs. So I think, ma'am, we should have 1 or 2 comments about that also.
Yes,
Otherwise, the
Actually-
session will be really incomplete. Yeah.
One minute. Dr. Kulin sir has already talked about PPF.
PPF he has mentioned.
Categorically said that in the beginning of the practice, you should put all money in PPF. When we started our practice, the amount was only 50,000, which increased to 1 lakh, and now it is up to 1.5 lakhs. So you should invest 1.5 lakhs per year in PPF. Apart from PPS, you should put 50,000 in NPS also. There is something called as National Pension Scheme, where also you get 80 CC or something. Dr. Trupti can say you get tax
Yeah, we
benefit.
had
on
a
it.
question on this from our audience about the pension services as well. We received
Yes,
on the
also you should invest 50,000 where you get tax benefit. So almost 2 lakhs of investment, you get tax benefit. That you must do in the beginning of practice. You should have a allocated fund for 1 year at least for your hospital. So something goes wrong, some say COVID wave comes again or some other virus comes, you should be able to stand that onslaught. Financial onslaught also. Plus, you should have 6 months of your own family expenses. Another very good point which Dr. Manish did was that you should have insurance, and that too only term insurance. So you can have a high value insurance at very low premium. So you should not listen to LIC agent and go for high premium insurances, but term insurance where you will get high value coverage at very less premium.
A quick
And you
comment on FD. Who
Yeah,
and
a
you
medical
will give about
indemnity
FD.
also
See,
must.
Any fixed income investment is like running on a treadmill. You know, when you compare inflation versus the fixed income, it manages to take care of the inflation or maybe marginally more, but it's like running on the treadmill. You don't move further, but you don't go behind also. It's something
Is
like
there any role or no today?
of FD.
There is a
Practically no, except for your trusts and foundations, not
Okay,
for
so as private
Yeah.
ophthalmologist, there is no role.
practically no.
For me,
Yeah.
I think the FDs are safe for up to 5 lakhs because government is backing up to 5 lakhs.
And your
Not more
emergency
than
fund,
5 lakh,
your
we should keep,
emergency
but
fund
5
should
lakh
be in
is,
the
yes, sir, for emergency fund, it should be in FD only. And you can have an RD. Like what I did is every month I kept adding in recurring deposit, and then once it reached a certain level, then I moved into FD, and that is my emergency fund.
Okay,
And
Dr. Manoj sir.
when we are talking about other asset classes, I think gold and silver also should be considered up to about 8 to 10% of our overall
I was
portfolio.
about to ask that question. Dr. Manoj sir had raised his hand.
Yeah,
Sir.
I just want to say about ATC. See, we get ATC benefit of 1.5 lakh rupees and 50,000 extra for NPS, total 2 lakhs, but that is if you stick to the old tax regime. Going forward, the default regime is the new tax regime, which is better for us. So ATC will go out of fashion gradually. Second thing is, if you put in PPF, currently you get 7.1% tax free. It is EEE category, but PPF is for minimum 50 years, and then you can renew for 5 years block indefinitely. So you're going to invest for 15 years, which is very long time. Then similarly for ATC benefit, you get mutual fund called as ELSS. So if you want to invest in PPF for 15 years, it is foolish, because you put that same amount of money in mutual fund ELSS, you'll get double the returns. And I've got statistics proving for last 20, 30, 40 years, you will get almost 4 times more money from the ELS category with the same tax benefit compared to PPF. So believe me, PPF, even for beginners, is not to go. And plus, if you invest in ELSS, your money is locked in for 3 years. PPF is 15 years. So you put in for 3 years lock-in, you do get some amount of safety and some amount of,
Liquidity.
Yeah, and you do it. So PPF.
Manoj, this is a subject of debate which we cannot go in length at this point.
Fair enough. Okay.
Dr. Akash and Dr. Ramesh sir.
See, in case of fixed,
Sir, Ramesh sir, please.
in case of fixed deposit, what I do is, I'll tell you, it's not that everybody follows me or I'm trying to impose something. I keep my money in flexi, something called as a flexi account, where the money is kept in fixed deposit, and whatever I want it, they can withdraw. I can withdraw whenever I want to. So you have an income of fixed deposit also, and at the same time, your money is not blocked. Even the BOA account has been put in the same way.
Yeah, your savings account becomes a flexi account.
Yes.
That facility is there with SBI also.
There are so many liquid funds which are available, which are safe of AAA or AA plus, where you can put for the time being.
Dr.
For
Akash?
me, sir, PPF is not there. I invest in ELSS, no PPF, but NPS I am investing in. NPS and ELSS.
Dr.
One thing-
Akash and Dr. Manish.
Yeah, so one thing we need to understand that, bank FDs do have a role. I would strongly disagree with, people who say that bank FDs have no role, especially given the equity markets and the great returns that it has to offer. The chief thing is that we treat bank FD as कि भाई उसमें lock in हो गया. Now we cannot touch that money. It is a sacrosanct value as much as gold or real estate has. But please understand that that is your liquid thing. You can always take an FD or OD, that is FD पे overdraft आप ले सकते हो. If you have 1 lakh of FD, you can take up to 90,000 of overdraft in case of contingency. तो जो contingency की fund की बात हो रही है, minimum I believe that 20 lakhs of any home, 20 लाख जो है वो पहले जो है वो आप FD आप उसकी करिए. उसमें अगर आपको घर में खुदा न खास्ता किसी को जो है वो हार्ट अटैक आ गया या सीवी स्ट्रोक आ गया या और कुछ हुआ, and you need the money, you can always obtain overdraft on that FD. So consider it as a liquid only, and in case of need, you can you can withdraw that. So this very take on, क्योंकि stock market में क्या होगा, आपने करोड़ डाल दिया, 20% stock market down है, जैसे अभी the market has gone nowhere. Probably majority of the mid cap and small caps are down even further. So what happens is then you have to take a haircut of 20 lakh rupees. I'm just presuming the base corpus is 1 crore rupees. So that might not be the right thing to do. Always great to have a bank FD to begin with. And you can always this thing. Same for PPF. Now, if you are investing already in equity mutual fund, and if you are going to invest the ATC benefits also in, in the ELSS or this thing, then probably it might not be the right thing to do. As far as we have, जब तक है, मैं भी खुद PPF में डालता हूँ, have significant amount in PPF as well, because equity is your best possible scenario, and then you have a worst possible scenario as well. So you have that, backup IOL or a SFIL type of situation, wherein कि कुछ नहीं हुआ, जब आप रिटायर हो रहे हो, जब आपको जरूरत पड़ी, आप PPF पे भी जो है वो लोन ले सकते हो. Many of us don't have. We have 1.5 lakh hour lecture on PPF. सिर्फ PPF, how to maximize the returns, क्योंकि PPF और बैंक FD में how to make a smart bank FD, उस पे भी हमारा एक लेक्चर है पूरा, कि जो है क्योंकि उसमें रिटर्न कैप है. डॉक्टर RC शाह सर को मिलेगा वही रिटर्न मुझे मिलेगा, लेकिन how to obtain better returns than what the government is offering on the same FD. So
do you have on YouTube, sir?
PPF.
Do you have on YouTube?
Pardon?
You said that lecture.
No,
Is it on
we
YouTube?
have that investing coach lecture. So as of now, we don't. Have that.
It's a professional thing now.
Dr. Manish, your
Yeah,
concluding
I'll just
remarks.
like to summarize whatever has been my thoughts. Actually, asset allocation is very important for a beginner. You have to follow a disciplined asset allocation. with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your checkbox, what I said earlier, your daily expenses, your savings, and then savings has to be divided into your first needs, essentials like safety, insurance, professional indemnity, and then your investment, again, gold, real estate, equity, and debt. And again, your exposure will depend. But the bottom line of all this discussion since last 1.5 hours is, since all of us cannot agree, even all of us cannot agree which stock is going to be good for our portfolio. I am really doubtful that the beginner will be able to do that. So I still believe that for beginners, we should go for mutual funds. We may have different categories and we don't need insurance agents and advisors to pick up mutual fund. At the end of the video, if we have of this lecture, if we have time, I have a small video on how I select my mutual funds in a categorical take-home message that will be there. It is a 7-minute video. If you allow me, at the end, I can play that.
Yes,
Thank
yes, we will have that video. We will have that video. A quick comment by Dr. Manoj also. Unmute, sir.
Please
Please
unmute.
unmute yourself.
Manoj sir, you're muted.
Yeah, okay. I think we should probably have sessions on each category. We had a general, so it became something like Bhelpuri, where little bit everything was there, and probably would confuse a lot of people. Okay, so I think maybe if going forward, we would need better to have like a session on stock market. So people interested, if experts from this panel here take less sessions, talks on them, and the people interested will attend those.
So
Maybe
today's
session on
was
mutual fund.
DNB, and now we will go to fellowship in each of the subspecialties. We have to start with DNB, no, sir?
Chalega. Okay. So that's what I think. Yeah.
General ophthalmology first and then fellowships. I think, shall we go on to that video so that we can conclude?
I think quick comment by Dr. Trupti and then video.
Yeah.
Very layman
And Dr.
comment
Akash
I'm
also.
doing. Very layman comment
I
I'm
can
doing. Okay.
share a screen.
So
Yes.
main thing is like if you go in the stock market, usually between the time of May to June is always your quarterly reports, which comes like the Q1 is a good time to invest. You reap your
Okay.
profits in Q3 or Q4. Okay. That's my take home message. The other
Very
take home message is like, if a stock is like 40% away from its all-time high, or at least 50% from its all-time high, it is good to accumulate, provided the fundamentals are good. Okay. So that's the main thing from my side. And if it is at 200 moving average on a daily time frame, that's the best time you can have and reap your profits.
Very good comment. Thank you.
Can I
Akash?
answer the question via screen share? As just one slide.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
The most talked about question, how to stock selection is done.
Dr. Sunil, please allow Dr. Akash and Dr. Manish to share.
And then we can conclude.
Is my slideshow visible?
Yes,
it
it's
is
visible.
Yeah. So this is how I choose stocks, and these are somebody wanted a simple answer to the complex questions. I just put one slide, and this is how I choose the stock, and this is what we do. So based on all these factors, this we analyze, and then depending upon that, you do a short listing of the sector, and then on the basis of that, you choose company 1, 2, 3, and then you choose one of the companies which is probably the best of the 3. So these are the factors which I personally consider before choosing a stock.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Akash.
Like a virus, actually.
Yeah.
So Akash, how many people in the audience will understand, will be capable?
Yeah, so that is what I said, that it is very
all
tricky
food
for
for
the
thought.
general audience to understand these things.
Exactly. That is
why we have investing
Dr.
coach
Akash.
for doctors.
Yeah, Dr. Akash, please stop sharing so that
Yeah,
Dr.
I'll
Manish
stop
can
sharing.
share
Dr.
his.
Manish, Please stop sharing. Dr. Manish. So this is all food for thought. We have to take it in a positive way, that we have to, whoever is interested will go back and read. Like whoever is interested in a fellowship will go back and do what he likes. So similar to that.
Is it audio also?
Is there
There's no
audio?
We can't hear anything.
Hear audio.
Is it? Because
Yeah.
I
The
can
audio
hear.
is not,
We can't
Audio is
see
not
any-
audible.
Okay, I'll
the
stop
video playing
sharing.
also.
Stop and reshare and
So what
You have
shall I
to
do?
open it, you
Hello?
open it and
Sir,
then
can
share.
you, sir, can you just
Close
stop
it.
share for a minute?
Yeah, I'll do that. Stop share.
Just click on the share screen button once.
Okay.
On the left hand side bottom, there is a share sound. Just check that. Ensure that it's checked.
Yeah.
Now you can start, sir.
Hello friends. Today I'm going to give you a demo of how to
Is it
select funds
audible?
on the website
Yes.
valueresearchonline.com. So first and foremost, go to the website valueresearchonline.com. Create a free account on this website by putting in your details and log in. Once you have logged in, you will come to this home page of this website. So we'll start with funds. So click on funds. Once you click on funds, you will see an option of more VRO tools, Value Research Online tools. Click on that. Go to fund tools. In the fund tools, you will find fund screener. Click on fund screener. Now here we will have option of applying various filters to get our desired fund. So first and foremost, what I will do, I will reset all the filters that I have already applied. Okay. So now I have done with all the filters. So we have a hell lot of funds which this website has analyzed. So it becomes difficult for us to choose our fund from so many funds. So we'll start applying filters. First and foremost is the fund house. So we are okay with any fund house as long as it meets our criteria. So we'll not apply any filter for the fund house. So we'll leave this apart. Next, we'll come to the fund category. Now I have already given you a list of the funds that should be in your portfolio. So I'll be giving you a demo of only one category of fund. So in the first equity category, the first one, the flexi cap. So we'll click the flexi cap. Once we do this, you can repeat this procedure for other funds also. So we'll start with flexi cap funds, apply. Once we have done this, then come to the next fund ratings. Start from the top. Here, see carefully. We are interested in only open-ended funds and not the closed-end funds. Then plan type. We are interested only in the regular direct plans, not the regular plans. Then we come to the ratings. We will be interested in only 5-star rated and at the most 4-star rated funds. Any rating below that, we will not be interested. We are not interested in fixed maturity plans, so click that. And we are not interested in plans that are suspended for sales. Once you have done this, apply these filters. So all the other filters also we have already applied. So they are the same here. Okay. So now see, and lastly, we are interested only in the direct plans and not the regular plans. So make sure that it is the direct one which is highlighted. So now see, from so many funds, the list has narrowed down to just a handful of funds. Now we will further apply our criteria to this list of funds. The first thing what I have said, we need a fund which has a track record of at least 5 years. So we will go to the age of the fund, click. So this is ascending, this is descending. If you again click it, ascending order, and this is the descending order. So in this order, these 3 funds, 1, 2, 3, these are less than 5-year-old funds. Rest all are more than 5-year-old funds. So note these 3 down, 1, 2, 3. These funds will be in our exclusion criteria when we further apply our filter. So just note them down. So one filter, age. Second, I had said we are interested in funds which have an asset under management of at least 1,000 crore. Any fund having asset under management less than 1,000 crore, we are not interested. So this is the ascending order, and this is the ascending order. This is the descending order. So we again go to the ascending order, and these 4 funds, these are having assets less than 1,000 crore. So note these 4 down. So now we have the broad exclusion list of 5-6 funds which we are not interested in. Once we have noted this down, then comes our role of returns. As I had said, we want a fund which has a consistent track record of good returns, not just past 1 year. We want funds having good returns over 1 year, 3 year, as well as 5 year. So we will start with 1 year return. This is return less to high. Click it again, high to low. So in this now, this is the list of the funds having good 1 year return. We have to select, note down top 5 funds in this list. But in the top 5, if any fund happens to be in our rejection list, we have to ignore that and go to the next fund. I think this fund was already in our ignore list. So take a look, keep your ignore list handy or rejection list handy. Note down top 5 funds with good 1 year return, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you have noted it down, whatever is in the rejection list, ignore those, go to the next. And in this way, you have to note down the top 5 funds in this list. Once we are done with this 1 year return, now we are interested in the 3 year return. So from here, we go to the returns tab in the long term. Here comes the 3 year return. So again, we tap it high to low. This is low to high, this is high to low. Repeat the same procedure. Note down the top 5 funds return wise in this list, ignoring the funds which are in our rejection list. So you will get 5 more funds from this list. Then do the same for the 5 year. This is low to high, this is high to low. So from high to low, note down the top 5 funds, ignoring the funds that are in your rejection list. So you have now 3 lists of 5 funds each, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Keep these 3 lists side by side and make a 4th list with the names of the funds which are common to all the 3. Number 1. Once you are done with the name of the fund which appear in all the 3 funds, then write down the name of the funds which appear at least in 2 of the. So as you can see, it is not at all difficult to select. It was just, I just wanted to play this video.
Yeah, very nice video.
Very nice, very nice.
Comment by Dr. Manoj on this video. Yeah.
Manish, what we could do is, see, again, you made it because you knew mutual funds. Again, I'm telling you, the audience will not understand this. See, value research itself has got star rating. So whatever you said about, seeing the duration of the fund or the star rating or even the assets. See, value research does not rate any fund which is less than 3 years old. So what I'm saying is, see, for the audience, it's simple people. So just take valueresearchonline.com and look at the star. You need to decide which category of fund you want. Suppose you want
but if you want to do actively, sorry, your conviction level in the selected fund is much more if you have done it actively and you understand why you selected that fund.
Yeah, but
rather
then
than blindly going by the ratings.
But that's the beauty of mutual funds. You don't need to break your head. So you go to valueresearchonline.com and suppose you want FlexiCap fund, choose any of the 5-star rating, and that's it. Because all the headache which Manish is saying has been done by them and given to you. Okay, so you just need to choose a FlexiCap fund if you want. Only thing is the decision has to be that whether you want a FlexiCap fund or a multi-cap fund or a large cap, mid cap, small cap.
So that's a different topic. That's altogether a different topic.
Yeah, so there may be when we have a session on mutual funds, this would come into that. So even when Manish has made it simplified, but we could make it much more simplified, and that's the beauty of mutual funds.
But it good effort and good insight into all this. I think definitely
this is what something I wanted the audience to take home, that after attending this webinar, घर जाके कल क्या करना है?
Yes,
to start with.
Very good insight.
Good.
Yeah, Dr. Ashish Shah, sir.
Dr. Akash, you want to add?
Dr. Kulin, sir, if you are saying something regarding
do you read the scripts?
In case of
कल क्या करना है, कल थोड़ा काम करके पहला पैसा कमाना है, थोड़ा सेविंग करना है, फिर बाद में सब.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
100% true.
In case of PPF, the government, in case you go to bankruptcy also, that amount is never taken away by anybody. It's a safe money for you.
No,
RC, no.
No, RC, no. That law was there till 6 years back. It has been changed.
No, this budget they have continued.
Yeah.
It is a safe money. So even if you go bankrupt, the government has to recover money from you. They cannot attach. So there is a big advantage of this.
Sir, bankrupt होने वाले काम ही क्यों करना है?
That is there.
If you are active in equity, there is a chance, na?
Ticket.
मेरे जैसे लोग bankrupt हो सकते हैं ना?
If you are very active in equity, then
मेरे जैसे लोग bankrupt होने को time नहीं लगता है.
Come on, sir.
Joke of
That
the
is
day.
the joke of the day, I should say.
So we had a very good session, and I think it is already
it's good
9:50,
discussion.
and excellent discussion and excellent thoughts that each of us are going to take back, and we are going to put into practice. Dr. Santosh sir, your concluding remarks. Yeah.
Actually, I would like to thank all the panelists for their wisdom, pearls of wisdom. In fact, I would like to thank Dr. Kulin sir also for giving a very balanced view on how to start investing for the beginner, how to be a disciplined investor, and how to allocate funds. Thank you, Dr. RC, for giving excellent tips, and Dr. Trupti, Dr. Akash for equity-related tips, and Dr. Manish and Dr. Manoj for mutual fund related. And as it is said that this was the first effort by Maharashtra Ophthalmological Society and UC regarding investment. So next time we will have a special episode on equity, where we can listen from the experts in the field of equity like Dr. Akash and Dr. RC Shah. And with, of course, experts' comments from Dr. Kulin, as he has said that he has lost 1 crore in one day. So he has a lion's heart so that he could recover all that and bounce back. So I think investment is like we are all cricket fans. So it's like a style of playing. One can be like Hardik Pandya, like Dr. RC Shah, who is very aggressive in style of playing, or somebody can be like Rahul Dravid, like Dr. Manoj or Dr. Manish, who will go slow and steady. In Marathi, there is a proverb called as Thembe Thembe Tale Satse. So that's the value of SIP as well as compounding. If you start investing from the beginning of your career, then at the end of the day, you will definitely have a large corpus with a lot of wealth, and you can have a peaceful and enjoyable life. And with this, over to you, Dr. Anaga, for the concluding remarks, and thanks.
Thank you so much, and my deep gratitude to each one of the esteemed panelists here, and for all the inputs and for the valuable time that you have shared with us. And I think each one of us are going back with a lot of food, because many of us must have, forgotten about it with a lot of academics going on, and this becomes on the back seat. But now definitely each one of us are going to be renewed energy and enthusiasm in investing. What is most important is the disciplined investing and the consistency of this investing that we have learned from seniors like Dr. Kulin sir, and a lot of inputs from all of you. Thank you so much. Dr. Aarti, she has also put in so much of effort into making this a reality and coordinating each one of the panelists.
Aarti is the backbone of this webinar, actually.
So thank you
She's
so much,
representing
Dr. Aarti.
YOC as well as MOS. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I have learned a lot. I was really a little illiterate before this session, but I have a lot of homework to do. And we've received quite a few hi-fi questions related to stocks and mutual funds from our audience through Google Form. And hopefully we will cover them up in the individual discussions.
Next session.
Thank you, Entod, for supporting. And thank you, Dr. Santosh, for always being the guiding light for us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
We'll have a similar episode in future, specifically focused on equity and mutual fund and other investment options also. Do let us know your feedbacks, and so
this
that
is a very hot topic. So I think that heat will remain for quite some time.
But very good.
Dr. Aarti has joined Investing Coach
also.
So you can kind of, she is now all sleeves rolled up for investing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
We will announce the next session very soon. We will announce the next session very soon.
Very
So
soon.
be with us. Be with us. Today we have covered the third topic in.
It was a bird's eye view. This was a bird's eye view.
No,
So
this
the
was
next-
the series has been for the practice management, and we have discussed 2 topics already. So this was the third one. We'll announce the 4th topic very soon. Thank you once again, and good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.